Hi, my loves. I'm jumping in here because I want to talk a little bit about training our nervous systems to be able to attract abundance in our lives. This is something that I share with people in my inner circle, and I speak to our students about as well, particularly, as many people these days are feeling a desire to step out of what perhaps they've always done, their jobs or their career roles or whatever it is, and step more into, a path of service doesn't mean to say that you have to be working in healing arts of some kind. A path of service is something that you decide to be, which is who you are. And, it's not by actually doing anything, but it's how we show up in the world and how we become the lighthouse and inspire those through our being around us. However, there is a great deal of fulfillment to be found when we marry our inner purpose with our outer purpose. And sometimes the shift from one world to the other can mean that we have times where we are on struggle street a bit financially, or perhaps it can be also that we have been, for one reason or another, whether it's through societal conditioning or family conditioning. For me personally, I didn't come from a lot of money or from a very positive example, I guess you could say, or you've probably heard of the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Sometimes it can be that people that are born into that high level of financial abundance, for example, it's much easier for them to continue to create financial abundance because that's what they expect. There's in their field, if we're talking about the things on the level of energy, which I always do, and this is no different. Money is energy, abundance is energy. And we're going to keep this just talking about financial abundance. Abundance comes in so many ways. It is not just about the money. Of course, we know that. I don't need to tell you that. But right here, right now, we're talking about financial abundance, and why is that important for us to be receiving that? Because when that is flowing to us easily, effortlessly, and exponentially, then we are able to be in our best, freest, and highest service in the way that lights us up most. And whatever it is that lights us up most is what lights others up most. And if we are able to do that without any concern of how we are having, number one, our basic needs met, but also to enjoy, to have the freedom to be able to move, to travel, to, if it's what you want to do, to work less hours, if it's what you want to do, to not work in an office. Some people love working in an office. Like my partner, since the pandemic, doesn't have to be in the office all the time, but he still chooses to go in because, he without going into what he does, he also does rites of passage work as well, which is his passion work that he does on the weekends. But he actually really loves that team environment, and he loves what he does. So for him, it's not a chore to go into the office, but for other people, it's like, and often people will look at my lifestyle and be like, oh, you're so lucky. No, it's not that I'm lucky at all. I have worked my ass off. And in the early days, I worked harder. Then I learned how to work smarter. And working smarter means attuning for the first and foremost, before anything, and this is not woo-woo, but we have to attune our nervous system to be in the frequency of abundance. That means that we need to normalize, rather than it being like something that we don't think we deserve, or something that we think is over there or out there, or might come to us at one point at some time. We have to really train the nervous system to know that it is normal to be in abundance and to receive without any fear of lack, without any justification of why, we give certain things to ourselves, because all of that is putting a sign out to the universe that in some way, shape or form, we are doubting ourselves and we are doubting the limitless abundance of the universe. Now, this is not easy when you are in a place where you are feeling like you're in lack or you are struggling, but it's actually in those moments that we are really truly being called to refine and watch where our nervous system shuts down, where our mind goes into panic or worry, and where we are not in full trust of the infinite possibility and the stream of abundance, financial and otherwise, that is always running through us, to us, that is always exponentially available for us. So, for me, I went from having very, very difficult processes for 17 years. I experienced 2 liquidations or 2 bankruptcies where I literally lost everything, like less than nothing, down to the last penny in the pocket sort of thing. And it was tough and it was freaking awful and challenging. Like I remember there were times where I'd be out with my friends and they'd be buying this and that and I barely had enough money for a cup of tea, But I still had this understanding that it was temporary. I still had this awareness somehow that there was something in there that I was refining, that I was unraveling, that I was learning. I'm always, with everything, looking for the gold in a situation. I'm searching for what's in it for me. I'm looking for what I can learn, for what I can shift and change. It doesn't mean to say it's not that it's easy. It's not. But it's step by step, right? Everything is step by step. And even though you want to be there, while you're here, what can you do right now? You take it a little step at a time. So for me, number one was, now I'm not telling everybody to do this, but I really had to, my guide, a master in particular, that appeared to me in a dream, came with a very, very clear message that I needed to sever everything that wasn't in alignment with where I was at this particular point in my life. It was 2017. I still had my business. At the same time, I was running a lot of ceremonies, taking people to Peru. I was running myself into the ground, really. But, I loved my business, but financially it was a real mess. As soon as I had the call to serve the medicine back in 2013, it took me 4 years to unravel myself out of that business and to, long story cut short, to eventually find some people that would take it over. So I walked away with nothing. I didn't sell it for a profit. There was a little bit of debt in the business, not too much, but they picked it up. They took care of all of that and they took the business over, and I walked away with zero. Nothing, not a single cent. And for me, that moment, for me personally, was like being on a freeway in a Ferrari and dropping the handbrake. It was like up until then I had been limited. I'd been held back. All of the hard work that I'd been doing, working 16 hours a day, trying to run businesses or sacred enterprises, conscious businesses, but it just wasn't my world. It wasn't working for me. I'm somebody who loves to give. I want to be able to give when I want to give without it sending me broke because there's so many overheads and all of the things. I was just really, for 17 years, it wasn't that I was on the wrong path at all. I was on exactly the right path that I needed to be on because it was teaching me all of the things I needed to know to set me up for what I do now. So they were all stepping stones preparing me for my true path, for my true purpose, for my true mission. And so once I made the break from that and the cut from that and was literally in Peru on the bones of my bum with not a single cent, it was incredible what started to open up. It was like the universe just blossomed and the opportunities. Now, this is the thing, is you don't just sit back and wait for it to magically fall into your lap. What you do is you surrender into the trust, and you get really comfortable with the sensation of trust, so that when you're in those places, you've got one of two choices. You can go into fear and you can go into panic, or you can take 20 minutes a day in the morning and sit in and marinate in what it feels like in your body to know that you have everything you could possibly need and more, that the universe is lining up opportunities, it's lining up synchronicities, it's lining up ways, and all you need to do is stay open, aware, and follow the opportunities and the synchronicities that when they come up, and follow the guidance of your higher self and of the universe to bring you back into full alignment with that you already are, which is absolute abundance. There is no lack. There is nothing that you can't create. There is nothing that you can't call in. But we have been so trained out of that to believe that we are separate from that, and that it's something out there or someone out there that needs to give us or show us or tell us that we're worthy or give us permission to. It's an inside job. So we have to retrain the nervous system and the nervous system and the body to know that, to be comfortable with that, for it to be normal, to become second nature. And we do that by marinating. That's the secret to all manifestation. It is marinating in the feeling, in the emotion, in the joy, in the sensation, in the possibility, even if it's not already there, of what can be, you know, and then watching when the mind says, oh, that's too good to be true, or don't get your hopes up, or all of this bullshit that we're taught that chops us down from being in our creatorship. Because when we're in that state, we're putting out a resonant field into the universe. And that frequency match just naturally calls everything to us, because the universe wants you to thrive. It wants every single being on this planet to thrive. And the beautiful thing in Aini is that when you call something forward for you, you call it forward for all beings. So why not? You're not just saying, oh, I want to be abundant, but I don't want that person on the other side of the planet to receive. No, you're wishing this for everybody. And the beautiful thing is that the more you receive, the more you can give. The amount of people that I've been able to help, you know, when their families have needed it, their kids have needed it, this, that, they know they can just call me and ask me, and I'll send them money if they need it. And how beautiful to be in a position where you're able to do that. See, so you can feel as I'm talking the shift in the frequency, can you? When I'm talking about abundance in this way, it's like, oh, it's expansive and light. There's no heaviness. There's only possibility. So then we hit times in our lives where, you know, maybe you've got yourself in that flow. For me, it was very much around the pandemic time when, you know, everyone was in fear of lack because everything had stopped. And for me, doing in-person works only, I didn't do any online stuff back then. That was my main thing. But I didn't have a single second of panic. Not one. I can honestly say, not one. For me, it was, oh, I get to rest. And even that, you know, you might think, oh, that's, you know, that's a bit, you shouldn't be doing that when you've got to make that. No, but that feeling, yeah, I get to rest. That's abundance right there. That is an abundant vibration. Thank you. Even though the world is in challenge right now, the Mother Earth needed this. We need the rest. You see, it's an abundant mindset. It's choosing to look for the good stuff. It's choosing to look for the beauty. Medicine of the hummingbird. And then during that time, I had the opportunity to stay in amazing accommodation at Amore Villas in Ubud, you know, $400 US a night or whatever. And me and Danny and Chrissy were there for next to nothing, able to support the staff. The small amount of money we were paying meant that they got to keep their jobs, which means they got to keep looking after their family. That felt so good. It felt so good. That was abundance. My relationship started to change. Oh, in giving to myself, others are receiving so much. And little by little, then I had my place in Uluwatu. Oh my gosh, the place that I used to think I'd never be able to afford to stay in, and I was living in there, you know, for months, 9 months. Wow, this is incredible. Look at what I can do. This is amazing. And then, you know, it didn't just fall from the sky. The guidance came to take Wilkasuyu online effortlessly. I had to really focus and put a lot of attention and effort, joyful effort into it. Of course, to create it, I had to put in work, but it wasn't work like slog. It was work creation, you know. So I followed and I did, and they started small and then they came, and then, you know, and every time you're like, oh, this is awesome. I get to do what I love. And 5 people came, and wow, they paid like $700 each. And wow, that's so, it's more than I've ever, you know, so it's staying in this wow all the time. When the bank account started to grow, I'd take a photo of it. I'd be like, yes, even if it was like $2,000 or $4,000. Oh my God, more than I've ever had, you know, from someone who had gone to beyond zero, twice, lost everything, like literally. And so the celebration, wow, wow, and staying in that wow, you know. And then I started to realize, wow, the more that goes out, the more space there is for it to come back in. Oh my God. So every time I would have a big expense, I'd be like, oh, awesome. Now more's going to come. And it's so crazy because you don't know where from, right? But the opportunities come, the synchronicities come. And then I was building my place in Bali and I was sure that I was going to have to find a way or borrow money or something. But little by little, step by step, I stayed in the wow. And then the next thing would come and I could do that. And the next thing would come. And then all of a sudden, like unbelievably, well, not unbelievably, totally believably, when you're living in this frequency, I've got my land, I've got two beautiful villas without, you know, and done in a way, not that in the cheapest way, because we've done it totally, totally, totally in harmony with the environment. So that is a little bit more. But because you're in harmony, because you're in right relationship, wow, the universe gives more, you know, and then the people need it. The Balinese family, yes, more, here you have. And then the more you give, the more you receive. You see, it goes like this. And then we hit some points, even we're in the journey of the wow, where the, you know, we're really retraining our frequency to be in that frequency of abundance no matter what is happening, that there will be points where all of a sudden, oof, like it either stops coming in as much or more's going out than's coming in, or something comes up or something happens and you're kind of like, oh my God, you know, and then that's when you catch the old mindset. That's when you've got to catch the old way that goes into fear, that goes into panic, that goes into shutdown, that goes into contraction. And then more than ever, you've got to go back to marinating. You've got to get into your 20 minutes a day or whenever you can of marinating in the feeling of the ease, of the effortlessness, of the joy, of the expansion, of the wow when it comes in, and into the trust, right into the trust, knowing that the space is created, so more will come, and there is something, because we don't know what is coming tomorrow. We don't know what synchronicity, we don't know what opportunity, we don't know what download, we don't know what idea. And then there's going to be times where your service, whatever you do, is a lot's going to come from it, and there's going to be times where not much comes from it. But that's also the Aini. And the key is that you are in love. You are in love with what you're sharing. You are in love with what you are doing, and you're also sensible. If you know that something is going to put you under stress and pressure and make it harder for you to stay in that wow, then never use the words I can't afford it. Take it out of your vocabulary, throw it in the bin, never say it again. You can afford it. You're just choosing wisely at this time that it's not quite the right time for you. Now, do you see how different that feels to I can't afford it? You know, so thank you. I would love to take that opportunity. Not quite right for me at this time, but if it is in the future, then I'll be there. It's like that, you see. It's a very different frequency. It's a very different way of talking to yourself than, oh, I know I can't afford it. Oh, it's too, because that you're totally disempowering yourself in that. So it's finding that fine line. Do not put yourself under stress or pressure. That's just crazy. Like, why would you do that? Don't do that. You know, stay in the thing. There's a beautiful trick I remember years ago that Abraham Hicks talked about many years ago. I think I first read Ask and You Shall Receive at least 20 years ago. Can you believe when it first came out? And I remember them saying something about carrying, and I think I may have done this back then also, by the way, like you carry $100 or $50 in your wallet and you mentally spend it, but you don't actually spend it. So you know you've always got that $100 there. You're like, I could spend it if I want. That looks nice. I could have that, but no, I don't think I would. I'm choosing not to right now. And you revel in the feeling, oh, I've got that $100 there, I can buy whatever I want, because it's only shifting a frequency. When we shift the frequency, the ups and downs will come, things will come and go, but we are in total trust and total knowing that even if we're in a point that's a little bit sticky, that too shall pass. And it really does, and it really will. And we can't even begin to imagine what's right around the corner there for us. We just got to stay diligent, step by step, be patient, but also expect that it's coming. You know, they say that expectation is the mother of all fuck-ups, but actually it's not. Expect it. Why not? You're a child of the universe, my loves. You are everything, and everything is you. There is no lack, there is no limitation, only what we give ourselves up here. So if that resonates with you at the moment, because I know a lot of people are a little bit like, whoa, you know, things are, even for me, like I'm noticing in my programs and in my offerings that there's a downturn. You know, there's not as many people able or willing, and that's why we offer a lot of sponsorships, like with Wilkasuyu. If you can't do the full amount, we have over $1,000 off for people that are willing to tell us a bit about themselves. So there's always ways. We always do payment plans, and yeah, you know, this work in Wilkasuyu, especially because it's so focused on facilitation, I have so many of my students that are creating so much abundance for themselves now, that are in full receiving, and in that receiving are they giving so much in their service. So don't be also afraid to charge for your gifts and for your service. I would say though, in the beginning, you know, for as long as you need, keep your business or your job or whatever it is, don't put pressure on yourself to make money from your offerings in the beginning. Do it because you love it. Do it with all your heart, with no pressure for it to support you. Do it, you know, and if you do it that way as well, you build an amazing community and word of mouth, because people will come. You know, I used to have 70 odd people in my house. I never charged them when I first started doing cacao ceremonies back in 2012, and I just invite them. And before that, even, I would have musicians come, make them charge. You know, I never charged anything. But what that did was it just filled me up so much. It filled them up so much, and it sets us up with really good aini. You know, so all of that we're giving is going to return somewhere, not from where you expect, but from somewhere it is coming, it's happening. So that would be my advice, is just to stay in the wow and stay in the in-loveness of doing what you do and sharing it. And believe me, before long, the abundance will come. Yes, or yes, it has to. It has to. It's law, it's frequency, it's vibration. Okay, so all my love to you, absolute abundance, infinite blessings for all of us, for everybody, that everybody knows what it is to feel freedom, to feel joy, to be able to create, and to live the life that they truly desire, and be in service in the way that lights you up. Bye for now.